Well, when Jeff Turner did his keynote this morning, it was almost as spot on as I could have said it. And I've got about 10 minutes to try and help you think about social media maybe just a little bit differently. I want you to think about it from more of a real estate perspective because, social media has such power, but it depends on what type of company you're in. If you're in the Coca-Cola, the Pepsis, and the Gatorade type, and you're pushing your product out there, that's one way of broadcasting, and it's one way of putting out content. But real estate really hasn't changed. Our business has always been about people, right? Relationships and people. More relationships, better relationships, more transactions. So I want to visually give you one message today in the 10 minutes, and I want you to think about maybe some things differently when I'm done. And the first thing I want to share with you is the broadcasting mentality. You heard Jeff say it a little bit, but we are really broadcasting a lot of stuff. We're using repeating type products, we're using syndicating type products, and I'll tell you what's really starting to happen is when you are broadcasting just article after article and things that make no sense to me, you're being ignored. And I think being ignored is probably the silent killer right now in social media. Being ignored is the silent killer in social media. And we can tweet that one, because here's what happens. What's even worse about being ignored is you think you have 1,000 followers, 1,000 friends, but 900 of them aren't paying attention to you. I wish they would just raise their hand and say, Jeff, just stop the nonsense. It's just not good. But unfortunately, being ignored, they don't tell you anything. So you're losing the audience that you set out to do. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges. We're broadcasting too much information. We're not connecting. We're not building relationships. So I'm going to try and help you through some visuals to try and get you to think about it just a little bit differently. First and foremost, whether we like to hear this or not, we're in real estate, but we are in sales. And I know that word is like voodoo. We're in sales. It's a bad word sometimes, but we sell us every day. You sell you, I sell me, and you're out there listing and selling yourself and your services. The 3 rules in sales we have to first learn and make sure we understand before we get to social media is the simplicity of this. I have to like you, and I have to trust you before I'll do business with you. But I can't like you and trust you until I get to know you. And how am I getting to know you if you're just throwing out nonsense on the web? I have no way to really know about you, the person. And that's where like and trust comes. You gotta like and trust. That doesn't happen well on social media with a lot of broadcasting. Now the third thing I think is just as important, and this is especially for us, is I like to buy. I just hate to be sold. Don't sell me and stop selling me your stuff. If we were at the cocktail party last night, you didn't start jamming your listings down my throat and start giving me articles at the bar last night. We were talking about our kids and our families and our connections and what you like and your hobbies. Why is it different online? Why do we just send out nonsense sometimes that has nothing to do with me, the person? So I'm going to paint this picture and I'll give you a better example visually by showing you this. Here might be the typical, maybe this isn't you, but the typical person, let's say on LinkedIn. You guys are familiar with that, right? Many all on LinkedIn. Here's how a typical LinkedIn agent works, right? Connect, 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 connect. And then what happens? We say, I'm not going to talk to anybody. I just connected with them all, but I'm just not going to say a word to them. We have one of the most valuable resources in the world, ever. We know where they work. We know what they do. We know what they've done. We know they're in the school. See, real estate and social media have to have a marriage. We have to actually go talk to these people. We're doing all this connecting and connecting and connecting, and we do nothing. So let's kind of introduce a different way to look at it through changing the buttons. We all push these buttons. On LinkedIn, we push the connect button. So I'm going to give you a visual thought of how to think about it differently. It's the only way I can make sense of this because a lot of us are making a social mess out of social media. All right, so the connect button. Yeah, we're connecting, but really, we've heard this term before, but what are we really doing? It's an invitation to the business cocktail party. You've heard all going to the cocktail party, but it's the invitation. What are you going to do with it now? Are you going to walk across the floor and actually invite somebody to lunch? And actually invite the manager in your local town from LinkedIn? Why don't you pick up the phone and set appointments? Why aren't we doing the things we're supposed to be doing in real estate even before technology existed? Right? It's about people. You got to shake hands with them. Now, I'm not saying you can't create relationships online, which happens a lot. But with all of this resource available, we're stopping at the invitation and we're not taking the invitation to the party. Does that make sense? Let's change the next button. What else can we change? How about Facebook? Friend. I'm your friend. I got 1,000 friends. No, you don't. The all not your friends. They're not. I know who my friends are. I got a good group of friends. Some of you are in this room. You'll jump through hoops for me. But the majority of people up here are really not my friends. It's kind of a misuse of that word, but that's what we bought into with social media. So how do we change that button? What is it? In my eyes, change the button. Possibility for friendship. I could be friends with those people. I really could, because guess what? Will your friends right now, most of your good ones that like you, trust you, will they give you real estate business? Will they? Will they send you referrals? And isn't that most of the time what we want? Referrals, right? So we got to work on building friendships. Google Plus, circles, almost a little bit kumbaya, little circles, right? I don't like talking about circles. I like to think of it as this. There are different groups for me to network strategically. That's how I think of it. I put groups of people, now I'm strategically networking. That's how I see it. Got to change the thought process of it. Twitter. This is fun. Follow. Okay, so if I'm following somebody, what's the real purpose of this? If you're following people, I just want to learn more about you. The problem with this is what am I really learning about you? Think about what you're putting out there. Am I learning anything more about you? Most likely in the case, it's not. Now, the other button, following, gets a little bit more creepier. Some of you have thousands of people following you. I got 500 people following me. Last time I checked in real life, if I have 500 people following me that I don't know, that's called stalking. I mean, that's a little creepy. But in Twitter land, okay, I can buy into that. They're following me. So what's the button going to say for that? What is the real concept of this? It's my opportunity to impress you. Am I making an impression on you? Am I posting stuff that's going to make an impression? That's really all it is. It's a way to change the game. So we have to understand, if I had 300 good working relationships in real estate, that would give me business today. The answer is simple. If I want to go from 50 deals to 100 deals, I take my 300 people, and if I multiply them to 600 people, does my business get better? Of course it does. More good relationships, more money. So we've got to work on that with social media, and I took it upon myself to ask over 100, this past 2 weeks, over 100 leaders of social media and real estate companies, what were the top 3 characteristics they gave me that consider a good working relationship? What did they want to see? 3, and I've got dozens, and I put together the top 5. They all said the same thing: respect, trust, mutually beneficial, good communications, and adding value to their lives. Those 5. So when you go down that path, you got to say to yourself, okay, I've got all these people on social media, I've got all these people on Twitter, I've got these people, I have to talk to them, B, I've got to find a way to build a relationship with them. My goal is to get to these 5 things, because once I create more relationships, I'm there. So, last off is when you see this and you're looking at your visual picture of social media, I'll wrap it up with this, is we spend a lot of our time here with the core group that we know and like, we're comfortable here. And that's okay, you still need to nurture that. But where we really need to spend our time building true relationships is here. And I'll tell you what, if you want your business to double and triple and grow the business, you start working on creating 3, and I challenge you, 3 to 5 working good relationships a week. Just work on 3 new ones a week that have really met all of this criteria with respect, trust, and adding value, and your real estate business will absolutely change forever. Thanks for listening.